Don't lie. If you don't have it, don't say you do. If you do have it, don't say you don't. Change your conversation around money. If nobody around you does anything different, you do something different. Now this is going to be different because we're so used to lying about money. We're so used to embellishing. We're so used to pretending. We're so used to saying one thing and the other being a reality that this is going to be real different for most of you. For 1 week, I mean, you're going to be so heightened. Your awareness is going to be so heightened about how much you lie about money. That's going to be hard for you unless you just have no integrity to keep lying about money. The people I do business with are very high integritous people. Very, very. And we just don't, we're just not dirty with money. We don't lie about it, we don't pretend, we don't, none of that. And once you get clear, once your side of the street gets very clear about money, you will be able to see the lies of the people in your life just very easily. Because most people lie about money. So when you stop lying about money, money flows into your life in a very different way. Not just necessarily with the money, but the people, the kind of people who come into your life. The kind of people, I can share so many stories with you, with events and people who have asked for refunds. I mean, I have people we have people who ask for refunds for events who said they didn't come to events. And literally, they were there, and we have their signature because they want a refund. Or people who will say, well, I didn't get a product. Who got it? I mean, the lack of integrity with people around money is just amazing. For $97, you will tell that your mother died? We've had people do that. It's crazy. It's crazy. And you know, I'll share some things. I'll share some of my business best practices with you. I mean, sometimes we will get people who are just administrative nightmares, and I'll tell my assistant, you know, I don't even want that person's money. I don't even want the energy that comes with that person. I mean, we've refunded thousands, tens of thousands, because I don't want that person in my space. And sometimes June will say, what? You're going to refund that to my... I don't want that person in my space. So give them their money. They can't come to another thing of mine. But I don't want their energy. And people think that's crazy. But that's the degree to which that's how I feel about integrity and money. You know, because I believe that 90% of the people that I do business with who come to my events are people of integrity. But you'll have that 10% where somebody will just be nutty. And I don't want those people in my life. And if that means I got to give you a $1,000 refund, then I'll give you a $1,000 refund. That's just the way I do business. Yes. And you guys like that system?
It worked for me.
Okay, all right.
That's Mary's system, too.
That's Mary's system? Pay people off? Tell your business. I said I was going to get your business. You pay people off, Mary?
No, she don't get involved. She just, when she gives money out, she don't look to get it back. And she's not looking to get it back. And she said, no, I'm not looking to get it back.
It's not that important for me. Because I feel like if they don't give it back, well, they need it worse than I do, to a certain extent, you know. So I'm just happy you can help. Yeah.
Okay. I've lied about money I had in my possession or bank account. We've all gotten to that. I've lied about my income in the past. I don't understand how to really become rich or wealthy. True or false?
True.
Okay. I make more, less, or about the same amount of money as my closest friends. About the same? More? Okay. Who makes about the same? Roughly. Who makes more? Who makes less?
Right now, I'm making less.
Okay. All right. How many of you have heard the whole axiom about if your income, if the 5 closest people around you are making more, you probably average up the income with the 5 closest people around you, right? Okay. So that means if you're making more than the people around you, that tells you a little bit much about how much they're making. And so if we are what we attract and we are basically going to become the average of the people around us and we're making more than the people around us, then our income is not necessarily going to be on the incline. Would you agree? Right? If we're making less, depending on who we are and what we do and how we aspire to get there, the reality is if you're around people who are wealthy and rich and know how to attract money, if that is your spirit and that's what you want to do, then you will ultimately, and depending on how intentional you are, get to that level. Okay? How many of you are willing to change your circles to get to a certain income level? Yeah. Yeah. How many of you are afraid to leave the tribe?
I want to shoot the tribe.
How many of you are afraid to leave the tribe to get to your income level? What's that? Yes.
Are you is that going to be on Facebook or something?
No.
Okay.
It's going to be on Facebook. It's not going to be on Facebook. No, I promise you that.
MySpace.
MySpace, though.
YouTube.
LinkedIn.
Hey, I got one of the things you put here. You asked how many of your family members are millionaire? And that's one of the reasons I'm here today for my grandson, because I believe in that principle. You cannot rise above the people.
Yeah.
So willing to do anything it takes to accomplish more, way more.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hopefully.
Do you know what people who make a lot of money, the one thing that people who make, that's consistent among people who make a lot of money, how many of you, just take some guesses, what do you think that is? The behavior that's consistent about people who make a lot of money. They want to get more money. What's the behavior, though, that's consistent among wealthy and rich people?
Positive attitude.
Yeah, their fear factor is different.
Fear factor is different. What else?
They invest in themselves.
That's it. They invest in themselves.
Voraciously.
I mean, like, I can't get enough of stuff that's going to make me better. But what poor people do, or certain income level people do, is that they invest in things. They buy clothes, Porsche. They buy cars. They buy, right?
Materialistic.
They might buy materialistic things, and there's nothing wrong with any of that, but they buy that to the exclusion of investing in themselves, or before they invest in themselves. What happens?
Oh, it's just that old statement that rich people have big libraries, poor people have big TVs.
Yep, 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 yep. Very, very true. I'm willing to do one thing different with my money in the next 12 months and to record my progress for the Intentional Millionaire Mentoring Program. Yes? Hello?
Yes.
Okay. True or false? Completing this exercise caused me some anxiety.
False.
Okay?
Yeah.
Yes? Caused some anxiety? Why?
Kind of brought up a lot of things and just, I guess, maybe the underlying fears, doubts, whatever. Like, can I do this? Is this possible?
Yeah.
Like when you're talking about saying no to family, because sometimes lend them money, never get it back. Be comfortable.
Same
you
thing.
know, yeah.
Yeah. Yep. What else? Who else? Caused
I
anxiety?
think a lot of us, a lot of people, we don't really look at our finances. We just live day by day by day by day. So when somebody questions us, we're like, well, I really don't know.
What were you going to say?
What I was going to say is that I think that we underline ourselves, we lie to ourselves about the truth. We don't want to deal with truth with ourselves about what we don't want to come out of that comfort zone.
Right.
Until you break through that, you're going to always find yourself coming back again and again until you get over what's holding you back. I think that you'll never be able to move forward.
Yep.
And if you're always looking back, you can't move forward. If you're thinking about, we're all going to think about things that happened maybe in your past. But how is that helping your future if you're not, sure, you gain knowledge from all of that, but you can't move forward by looking backwards or going backwards.
Right. Who else said there was anxiety?
I had a question for you,
Yes.
because I was contemplating on freedom, status, security. Which one you put first?
Freedom.
Freedom
for me, without a doubt, because my whole thing is to be able to do what I want to do when I want to do it. And so, and it's nice to be, my sister, when my brother died a couple weeks ago, my sister is a professor at a college in Florida, and she had come down for one of my events. We flew her down for one of my other company's events, so she was here the day my brother died, ironically. So she was here for 10 days, and she said when I was taking her to the airport, it was so nice not to have to get up and punch a clock and do any of that. And she said, I just really experienced what you've experienced for like most of your adult life, which is never having to answer to, never do anything.
Let me ask you this question,
Sure.
but is it freedom for you because you had the status basically before the freedom? You're WNBA, so you had the status before the freedom. And well, even with college, because it still starts in college. When you walk around the campus, I mean, everyone knows who you are.
Right. Right.
So you had the status even before you had the money. So is it because you already had the status? That's why you're saying it's freedom now.
No, I say it's freedom because that's what motivates me now to keep doing it.
Yeah.
What motivates me now is the fact that I never want to feel like I felt in 2001, with ESPN, like my income, somebody else determines my income. And more importantly, to be able to do what I wanted to go. I mean, I decide when I'm going to take vacation. I decide how long I'm going to take. If somebody needs something, they don't have to worry about whether I have it. I mean, for me, that's what drives me every single day. But when I listen to people who hate their jobs and hate getting up in the morning, and I just never want to experience that. So I will grind it out. If I can avoid, again, we avoid or we run to experiences. So I will avoid that experience to the degree that I will never go back to that again, whatever it takes. Yeah, John.
To me, the simplistic definition of that freedom is to go to any restaurant that you want to go to, and you never look at the price.
Yep.
You look at only what you want to order.
Yep. And I say, in fact, when I go out to eat with people, if I'm paying, it's amazing how, all of us, we look to the thing. And when I go out and eat with people, I say, we're not looking at prices today. And it's so hard for people to go, they just start sweating, like, how do you not look at the price of something? But we're so conditioned to do that. In fact, we were eating, a friend of mine recommended a restaurant down in the Bishop Arts District. You guys know where that is down there? And it's a great restaurant. And the server said, I said, what is this mixed veggie thing? He said, well, it's zucchini and squash and blah, blah, blah. And so I'm a fairly picky eater. And I was like, well, you can't really cook zucchini at the same temperature that you cook carrots. And one of them's going to be mushy. It's true. One's going to be a little bit mushy. And so I was like, so just give me asparagus. She was like, well, there's going to be an extra charge for that. Do you still want it? And I said, I don't care about an extra charge. Most people think, well, if it's going to be $7 more, I don't want to do whatever. And I said, we don't. And I said to the server, I said, I don't live that way. And she was like, it's $7, but it's not about the money. It's about what we keep from ourselves because of the money. Because we think, well, this is going to be extra. We can't do it. You have to stop living that way. But going to a restaurant and saying, we're just not going to do that. We're just not going to look at the restaurant. We're just going to get whatever we want. We're going to shop wherever we want to shop. We're going to fly first class. One of the hardest things I had to do was to make a decision to fly first class. Because I could afford it, but I wasn't flying first class. And even though I'm 6 feet, I was cramped. They're making the plane smaller now, so I'm sitting back there like I'm like 7'2" in a thing. And I made a decision to fly first class. And now you think about how we start sleeping into our lives, and we just do things because it's what we do, right? But when I made the decision to fly first class, then of course I met different kinds of people, right? Because the people I'm doing business with don't fly and coach. We all get there at the same time. It's not about that, but it's about the experience you have on the journey. Okay? So I made that decision because I needed to elevate my level of thinking for what was possible for me. Not because first class is any better or anything like that, but I wanted a different experience. As a result, I'm more comfortable, I can do more work, I meet different kinds of people.
And ultimately you deserve it.
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody in this room can fly first class.
Exactly.
How much more is it for you to go first class normally?
Sometimes it's $1,000, sometimes it's $2,000.
I didn't know if there was a percentage.
No, it's different. It's different when you book it, and depends on which. Like for instance, I've learned that with some airlines you can bump up to first class for like $50. which was very cool. I mean, you know, like U.S. Air, you can get like for $50 if you're flying first class. American is never going to do that, which is my favorite, you know.
It's more than $87.
Yeah. First class? Wow. Should have tweeted me on that, yeah. All right, so somebody else has something?
I have a question to back up a little bit. You know, we were talking about like friends and families that may get angry, upset at you if you don't let them have this, or just people in general.
Right.
Everybody's situation is different, and I know that. But how do you get past what people think? How did you
practice?
Practice, right?
Yeah, it takes practice. It really takes practice. The first thing I had to do was to just be true and authentic to who I am. You know, I'm not going to downplay my money. I never talk about my money. I never talk about anything. People just assume. You guys know, people just assume certain things about you.
Right.
But if somebody says, "Oh, well, you rolling like that," I don't act like I'm not.
Okay.
You know.
I have sisters that do that.
Yeah.
But they think I am.
Right. So I would open a dialogue with those people about what they're really saying. Because what we tend to do is that we let people shoot bullets at us all day long, and we just ignore it, and we just let them bounce off. But ask them, you know, why do you say those things to me? I challenge you to ask them, why do you say those things to me?
Get the true meaning of it.
Yeah, just ask them. Then it puts it back on them. Because that's what I do. You asked me what I did. I said, why do you, I noticed that you always say these things to me. And then you, oh, I'm just joking. I'm like, no, let's talk about this.
Okay.
So they'll stop.
If they don't or not, at least you're aware of, at least you're having this open conversation with this person who continues to do these things with you. But what we do is that we ignore it. It bothers us. We don't keep, ask the person, why do you do that? Let's talk about it.
And continue to practice.
And just practice it. And just be aware of how you feel when people do those things. That's all. It just takes practice. That's all you. That's the only thing I can tell you. And then pretty soon, you know, you realize that what people say is about them and not about you.
Right.
And that's the piece that most people don't get to. You think it's about you. It hurts. Why does it hurt your feelings? That's about them. Well, I don't like it. Well, don't engage. Don't pay attention to it. But it is about not being invested in what people think about you. And you just have to practice that. And sometimes I just have to say out loud, you know what, that's not even about me. I literally have to say that. That's not even about me. Okay? My little brother will say sometimes, he runs one of my companies, and he said, I said, Metro PCS, why isn't that working in Clovis, New Mexico? He goes, it's Metro, Miss PhD, right? And so he says it like 5 times. And so finally I said to him, why do you keep saying Miss PhD? He's like, well, you should know that, blah, 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 blah. I said, but you know when you say that, that's really about you, but let me tell you what I hear. So I told him what I heard, you know. I said, this is the way that people, they try to put you down. They try to, oh, you make right? And he was so like, I would never do that to you. I said, but that's how your words come out. And so he doesn't do anything. But if I had just kept going, ignoring him and not saying, and challenging him to get to why he does what he does, right? Because you can't make me feel anyway. But I shared that with him, and now he does something different. Because in his heart, he doesn't want to do those kinds of things. But he does what he's been conditioned to do. He's been conditioned to do that to people. You know, you're so smart, you're so rich, you're so blah, 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 blah. You know, you make a lot of money. And we have to hold people accountable for the things that they do and say. So you just got to practice, and you got to be willing to have hard conversations with people. The reason people ignore the things that people say to them is because they don't want to have that hard conversation. The reason marriage is easier to say no to their kids because she don't want to have that hard conversation with their kids. So you got to be willing to have the hard conversations. Okay? Anything else? Pat.
Just one of the things that you're showing is that you really like you. You're really comfortable in your shoes. You're worth it. Mm-hmm. Okay? And when you address somebody else, 90% of the time, at least my experience, maybe not in this room, but 90% of the time, they don't feel they're worth it.
Right.
They don't like themselves as much as they should. They don't accept who they are, and so they'll try to tear you down. But when you sit there and address it from the position you're talking about, it doesn't matter what they think.
Right.
You're comfortable in your shoes.
Right.
Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and once people know that, because it's like the bully on the playground. As long as they know they can get to you, they just keep doing it. So you're experiencing a form of bullying. You really are. And so people attempt to bully you with their words. And as long as you show that it bothers you, as long as you show that you're affected by it, as long as you don't challenge them, they keep doing it. So you have to challenge them. You can't say it doesn't bother me, but you're talking about it in the seminar. You know what I mean? If it bothers you and you want it to stop, then you've got to address it with those people head on. And all of you who are having issues with money with your families, with not saying no, you've got to address those issues. The more money you get, the bigger those issues will likely get with those people. Because now you're giving them a couple $100, then it's going to become thousands of dollars, and all the while you're avoiding having the hard conversation with them. Okay? How are we on time?
You have 15 minutes.
Great. Okay, so we're going to do a receiving and giving inventory. This is about your propensity to give and receive, and then we're going to take another quick break.